I've been away for a good couple of months now, I think. Been busy with some personal stuff, got a couple of businesses that I was getting off the ground and that had my attention. First things first, I hope Adonis Stevenson is okay. From what I'm reading, he's still in critical condition, so hopefully he pulls through with all his faculties intact. I mean, you wouldn't want to pour your heart and soul into fighting and then only for one of your last few fights to lose it all. So, hopefully he pulls through all okay. So this one obviously is to discuss the Wilder and Fury fight. I did have a video. I had it all recorded and everything. I just didn't have had time to trim it down and cut it up and post it up to YouTube with my sort of pre-fight thoughts. It doesn't matter now. It's all pretty academic because I was wrong. I had Wilder winning, but how I thought the fight would go was sort of how the fight went. The only thing I got wrong was I expected Wilder to knock him out at some point, which he didn't. But let's go back to the beginning. Firstly, Fury. I'm not a Fury fan. I probably got one or two other videos where I made that clear. I'm not a big fan of his, but the guy can box. I can't deny that. I don't find him exciting enough because he's not aggressive enough for me. And if he had 20% more power, he would be a much better all-round boxer in my opinion. But he can box, He is the best boxer in the heavyweight division, no doubt. I can't. No one comes close to him in that aspect. And Wilder, in my sort of pre-fight thoughts, I commended Wilder on a couple of things. One of them that he's super patient. I mean, he prepared to give up rounds and stalk and wait. And I also said that he's very well conditioned. I mean, you never see Deontay out of shape. He's not gonna balloon up a couple of stones and then struggle to get down to weight. He's always in sort of fight shape. But in this instance, I was wrong with one of them. Conditioning wise, I mean, by the ninth, 10th round, he was huffing and puffing, and and the reason is he was throwing so many wild punches and swinging and missing. That takes a lot out of you. And this is what my main problem with Deontay is that he's a headhunter. And it looks great and fantastic when you're doing that against unranked cruiserweights from Poland. Yeah, you can do that. These guys don't have the experience, they don't have the size, they don't have the nous. And quite frankly, a lot of them just want to get paid and get out. You can do that. But Fury is an elite level fighter, even at 60%, 70%, whatever it was. This was not the Fury from 3 years ago. Absolutely not. And that's the scary thing, is that he's felt Deontay's power now. He knows what Deontay's about. Deontay is a one-trick pony. We've seen it tonight. He's been exposed. He is a one-trick pony. I'm looking at comment sections now. I'm talking to people who I know are diehard Wildettes. They're now hopefully starting to see the light that it's okay liking him. I get that. He's aggressive. He's black. He's American. He's from the South. I get all that. But please understand that the boy can't box. His footwork is sloppy. All over the... I mean, if Fury just had a bit more power, every time he hits him, the guy is unbalanced. I don't understand. I've never seen someone so unbalanced in a boxing ring at this level in my whole life. I can't get over it. And he thinks that if he gets in there with Joshua, if Joshua's touching Fury at the will Fury was, then I'm sorry. That fight ain't going 12 rounds. Joshua's knocking him out. I'm even more convinced so. I'm not saying Wilder couldn't knock out Joshua. Absolutely, of course he could. Wilder could knock out anyone. But he's so sloppy with it. He has no boxing nous whatsoever. I was looking back at an interview. I think it might have been with Fight Hype or BT. I can't, but BT Sport. I can't remember who it was, but they asked Jay Diaz what are what's Deontay's what is his pros? What is he good at? And he hesitated a little bit, and then he just said, "Oh, boxing IQ." Inside, I was laughing. I was thinking, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get away from the fact that Deontay is just a physical specimen. You're trying to make out that this kid can box and there is more to him. I get that. But boxing IQ was the wrong one to go with. This guy has no boxing IQ whatsoever. He's never aware at all. And I'm disappointed with his corner as well. And I say disappointed because I wanted Fury to win, but I didn't want Fury to win. I wanted Fury to win because obviously I'm British and I wanted Wilder to be exposed for the boxer that he ain't. And to be honest, Fury was a better fighter on the night, and I think that he won. But at the same time, I want Joshua to be the one to knock him out and humble him without Fury saying that he softened him up. Because Fury 100% would say that. If Fury had won, he would be saying if Joshua ended up going on and beating Wilder afterwards, he would have said that he was firstly softened him up for him. Which, is fair enough, but that's not sort of how it works. But he'll have that. So I kind of want Joshua to be the one to bang him. But he just doesn't. He's not aware. For instance, the things that were successful for him, his left hook was there. That was his most successful punch that night, and he did not work that at all. He did not work. All he was doing was headhunting with the right. That is it. From the off. And Fury was so clever. He was so clever because he manipulated Deontay into taking the lead. Deontay is not a come forward fighter. He just isn't. He's just not good at it. He's not a pressure fighter. He's not good at taking the lead. He's not good at going forward. He's a back foot fighter who's essentially a sniper waiting for that window of opportunity to let off a shot. That's what's worked for him up until now, and that's what he's good at, to an extent. Against high level fighters, that isn't going to work. Against high level fighters, it's shown now that that isn't necessarily going to work. It's unfortunate that the two mistakes, I need to watch it back again because obviously it was about 5 in the morning by the time the fight came on. The first knockdown, at first I thought Fury slipped. I was thinking, what happened here? And when they showed back the replay, I think he got hit just behind the ear. And obviously that fucked up his equilibrium, and then, he took the knee. Or fell down, one or the other. And, he got up, he seemed pretty unscathed, and he was back into it again. But that was of his own demise. Wilder did not position Fury and manipulated Fury and then caught him with a good shot. It was Fury's cockiness, basically, that did it. He backed himself into that corner, and then he goaded Wilder. And he was only doing that because he's been slipping him all night. And he got overconfident. And he got tagged. And we all know that if Wilder connects for the most part, he's going to put you down. It wasn't a cleanish of shots, which is probably why Fury was able to get up. But nevertheless, Fury did well to get up, and he went back at it as if he hadn't even been put down. It's remarkable. And obviously the second knockout in the 12th round, again, I haven't seen the replay again, but I think Fury's hands were down. And I'm thinking to myself, you're in the 12th round, you must know, or you must have a strong inkling that you're winning this fight. Why are you in the pocket? I get it. You've been off for 3 years. Forget those last 2 fights. They were expedition fights. You're under the bright lights. You're in America. This is a huge fight. You want to, you want to show people what you're about. I get that, but secure the win, and then have all the fun afterwards. But he had his hands down. He shouldn't have been there. I mean, he should have literally just ran for the last 12 rounds, because I knew it. I knew going into that 12th round that Wilder's going to have to go for the knockout. And he got it. Not the knockout, he got the knockdown. And obviously, that proved to be, the decisive action that decided that Fury wasn't going to win that fight. I mean, the judging, that Mexican, I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, literally, Wilder only won 2 rounds, and that's only because of the 2 knockdowns. You can't. It's a 36-minute fight, and Wilder literally showed 2 20-second spurts in the whole fight. That's literally what he did. Fury controlled 35 minutes, damn near, of a 36-minute fight, and he let his guard down for 10, 15 seconds at a time, where he got put on his back. You know, and I know the casuals out there and the wildettes and all the minions and the zombies that are out there for the LDBC are gonna just look at the knockdowns, but it's boxing. It's not knockdowning. You know, yes, if you knock someone down and they don't get up, you win. I get that. But there's been many a fights, many a champions who've been knocked down and gone on to win the fight conclusively. So it's not just about the knockdowns. Especially when your guy has been touched all night and been boxed every single round. I mean, I can only give Wilder 2 rounds. 3, an absolute push. But even then, I still don't understand how he was up on that Mexican's card. The English judge, I could kind of probably see where he's coming from. I think he thought that the other 2 judges are going to clearly score this a Fury win, but he's trying to be, you know, politically correct and try to be as unbiased as he can and think, you know what, I'll chuck in the draw. It'll be a split win for Fury, and I look like I've been as unbiased as I possibly can be. You know, and that's not how you should be doing. You should be calling the fight how you see the fight. And I think the vast majority in that arena and watching were all in agreement that Fury won that. LDBC zombies aside, they don't count. They don't have an opinion in this instance because it doesn't matter what happened. Fury could be, Wilder could be on his back, unconscious, carrying him out the ring, and they would have still said that he had won. They would have found some sort of way. They're now saying that, oh, the count took too long. It was a long count in the 12th round. I mean, they weren't complaining when Wilder had, what, 20 unanswered or unanswered punches from Luis Ortiz, or the fact that he got an extra 20 odd seconds or whatever in between rounds. There was no complaining then. But because a 10 count took maybe 2-3 seconds longer than he would have liked, that must mean that, you know, he should have secured the knockout based on that. I mean, deep down, I mean, I've been surprised actually. I mean, looking at some of the comment sections at some of these other YouTubers, some of these, I admit, I mean, for instance, Black Fight Fan TV, I don't like him, he's a cunt. But he's come out and said he thinks Fury won that. And I don't know if the High Priestess in 78 is going to be happy with that. You know, someone's not towing the line, because 78 is now putting out a lot of fires at this moment. I don't know why he keeps coming up in my feeds, but anyway, I listened to, because I got the autoplay popping up when I got YouTube on my Xbox playing in the background. And the amount of deflecting he's been doing in the last few hours, my God. He's got people in the comment section who are saying, look, Xavier, I rate you, I like you, I'm a Wilder fan. He didn't win. And he has had a fit, telling these guys to fuck off, you guys are faggots, don't come up on my chat, and all these things. And again, because they're not towing the line, he's got upset, you know, and he is the High Priestess, so, you know, I expect repercussions. And their subscription's probably going to be cancelled and they're probably going to be thrown out the cult, but hey. But hopefully a few of these, you know, vastly American LDBC fans, but hopefully now that rose-tinted glass has been taken off. You know Deontay Wilder is Deontay Wilder. You know what he is now. He's a headhunter, knockout artist. That is it. He's not an elite boxer. He doesn't belong on the elite stage in the upper echelons of this heavyweight division. He's just lucky. If Wilder was 4 inches shorter, with a shorter reach, this guy wouldn't even be a boxer. It's as simple as that. If the guy was like 6'1", 6'2", with a 78 reach, he'll be packing my bags at the grocery store. That's what he'll be doing. So he's blessed with the physical attributes that he has. He's blessed that he's 6'7". He's blessed he's got, I don't know, 80 odd inch reach, you know, and he's done the best that he can with it. And good luck to him in that aspect, especially since he did it to look after his child and all that. That's all commendable. That's all great. He's not a boxer, and if the fans had accepted that sooner, maybe 4 or 5 years back, Breland and Diaz could have worked. JD, sorry, could have worked on his fundamentals and everything that's wrong with him. Wilder has no defense. You know what Wilder's defense is? His defense is a threat of offense. That is his defense. His defense is the threat of offense. Because people are so wary of his power and what he can do and the speed in which he can do it at, they don't look to engage as much. So they never really put Wilder under a lot of pressure based on that threat of being knocked out at any moment. That is his defense. One day he's going to come across some thick-skulled Eastern European guy who can take a punch, who's going to come forward, and he's going to lose. Because he's not going to know what to do when he's under that sort of pressure, when he can't knock someone out. Now, at the moment, there hasn't been a man that he can't knock out. Well, apart from Fury and Stavern first time around, but obviously he corrected that with Stavern. And he did put Fury on his back a couple of times, but he didn't knock him out. So that's his defense. And that's why Brazil's not that dissimilar. Brazil's defense is his face. He blocks with his face. And because he's tough and he can always plod forward, he can do that, he gets away with that. When you're coming against elite level fighters, as he found with Joshua, you can't block with your face. And he got beat up and he got put away. But Wilder has no plan B. No plan B. He didn't work his jab. And Deontay Wilder's jab is not a bad jab. He's got a decent jab. That jab followed by the straight right that puts the vein on his bum in the second fight. That's the best punch I've ever seen him throw, or a combination anyway, I've ever seen him throw. That was almost textbook perfect. Through the guard. The only thing that made it not as great was that it was against Stavern who's been inactive for 2 years, who had bills to pay, who was overweight, and hadn't fought anyone in all that time. But nevertheless, technique-wise, that was absolutely on point. But his team have not taught this guy how to box. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to use his attributes, borrowing his power. Now, Fury, on the other hand, Fury was so clever. I was so impressed with it. I don't even like Fury, but I was so impressed with him. When he was hurt, you know what Fury was doing? He was talking to Wilder. He was making Wilder second guess whether or not he even hurt this guy. That first time he knocked him down there, he was talking to him, and Wilder didn't jump on him because he was thinking, fuck, this guy, he's still here. Fury was probably hurting, his head was probably ringing, but he had the boxing IQ and the knowledge to know that I'm going to trick this guy into thinking that I'm fine. And so what does he do? His feinting was killing Deontay. The feints were the feint and that jab, it was killing. Deontay ain't gonna be able to open his eye tomorrow, or today rather. The feinting killed him, and Deontay at some point, I've realised with Deontay, he doesn't like to get hit, and I know that's a bit of a contradiction because in boxing you don't want to get hit and you want to hit your opponent. I get that. Deontay really does not like getting hit. And for a boxer, that's amazing. He doesn't like to get hit. Every time Fury was feinting to throw, he was hesitant, and it threw him off his game. And for the very first 30 seconds, Fury had this guy sussed out. My only worry for Fury was would he be able to last, because I really thought that he would box how he had up until basically I thought he would box as he had yesterday, beautifully, but I still thought that Wilder would catch him in the 9th or 10th. Well, he got him in the 9th, but get him out in the 9th or 10th based on the fact that Fury had been effectively on his toes and moving around the whole fight. And Deontay is not a volume fight. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. I didn't expect him to be as tired as he was, but last night, his punches were so obvious. I saw them coming yesterday. That's how obvious he was. He has, there's no sort of subtlety about him whatsoever. He's just a ramrod that's there, and his corner, they were very quiet. They didn't offer him anything, and the reason why is because Wilder has had smoke blown up his ass for so long that no one can't tell him nothing. Because his response to any sort of his response probably in the gym is always, "Oh, I'm not this guy out. Why do I need to bother with that?" And you know what? Up until now, he's been right. But his guy should have trained him for a day or reminded that this day will come when you will come across someone, the likes of Ortiz, the likes of Fury, who can box a bit. You're gonna have to have a plan B. And Fury, Wilder, he's not interested in that. And the thing is, the scary thing is that, or the sad thing is that this is the best Wilder we're ever going to see. He's not going to get better. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. This is it. This is your American champion. This is the best he's ever going to be. The Fury that we saw last night, that's not the best Fury. We've seen a better Fury. And the scary thing is that rematch comes, which I strongly suspect Wilder is not going to push for that, is that Fury can only get better. He's going to be confident in the fact that he's felt his power. He's seen the best that Wilder can offer. I'm not saying that was the best performance Wilder ever gave, because obviously he can perform a lot better than that. But that's it. That is what you get with Deontay. That's it. He's not going to come up with any new tricks. The Wilder's, Fury's camp, they're so clever. I'm very impressed with them. I didn't know Ben Davison. I don't know much about him. I've never heard of him before he took on Fury. And I don't know how much Hatton and Pacquiao's old trainer, Freddie Roach. I don't know how much they had with the actual game plan, but all up until fight night, there was all this talk about starting Southpaw and whatnot, and maybe Deontay's team thought that's how he was going to start. Obviously, he didn't, but that's no excuse. You got to adjust straight away. Surely you put a plan in action if he goes southpaw, and you put a plan in action if he's orthodox. He's a switch hitter. You know he can do both. You have a plan for both, but they just don't. Their plan is, let's just wind him up, stick him in, and then just aim for the head. And I'm glad that it got shown that it takes more than that. It takes more than that. And I'm just really sad for Fury that it was really his own undoing in terms of just being that little bit too confident and a little bit too cocky that undid him. Especially the 12th. I mean, what's he doing there? He should be nowhere near there. He had the energy. He should have been dancing around that ring, running around that ring, and just eking out that time. But credit to Fury, man. Getting knocked down. I was on a voice note to someone at that time, and as soon as he got slumped, I said, "Oh shit, the fight's done." I ended the voice note. It says done, and I don't know how or what it was that got him up, but he probably thinking to himself, "I can just lay here. I've done an okay job. Everyone's expecting me to lose. I'll take that." But then again, he's thinking, "Fuck that! It's the 12th round." I've outboxed this guy for at least 10 of those rounds. That's how I scored, at least 10 of those rounds. I'm not staying down. And he got up. And you know what the funny thing was? He looked the better fighter finishing that fight. His powers of recovery was fantastic. And this is from a guy that's been on the couch for 3 years damn near. On a coke binge. On an alcohol binge. Probably talked off jumping off a bridge not too long ago. This is the guy that's outboxed your American champion. And then, as always, they can't help themselves. They've got to bring Joshua into it. If Joshua's watched this fight, which he surely would have by now, there's nothing there to scare him in terms of Wilder. If Wilder allows Joshua to molest him as Fury was molesting him at will, there's a difference now. Fury was just throwing out punches to keep Wilder off him, to keep him back and keep him out of range. Joshua's punch with intent. We know Wilder don't like being touched. No homo. But he don't like it. He does not like it. He don't like to engage. He just wants to get in, fire off and get out. and he gets discouraged. He's easily discouraged. Once it's not working for him, he doesn't think, okay, let me try a different route, because he only knows one way. He only knows one way. Fury probably had a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, maybe even a G. And not only that, he has an ability to call an audible. He can do it on the fly. You know, he doesn't need his corner to tell him. He has the boxing IQ. All his corners there to do is give him that little bit of information that maybe he might have not seen. You know, or give him that encouragement, that motivation, or tell him that what you're doing is working. Maybe that's what they're there for. They certainly don't need him to understand how to execute a fight plan. Fury's intelligent enough. Now, I still think Joshua's better than both of them. See, with me is that Fury is the better boxer in the division, absolutely, and Wilder is the most powerful and explosive in that division, no doubt. But for me, Joshua is the most balanced. He's got good fundamentals. He can box. He's got great technique. He's got excellent IQ. He's now understanding distancing and when to engage and when to back off. He fought to a fight plan beautifully against Parker. You know, that was the fight. And I know most people hated that fight. That was the fight that impressed me the most about Joshua. Because it showed that he's not just a rough and tumble guy that's just going to come in here and blow people away. There are fights where sometimes you have to respect the boxing skill of the person that's opposite you, and you have to find another way. And what are you good at? You're 6'6", and this guy's 6'3", whatever. You got a 5-inch reach of what? Yeah, we're gonna use that. We're gonna use that tool, and that's exactly what he did. And he did it, and he was disciplined. You know, he didn't deviate from that plan. And if needs be, he would have been able to. If the fight, if Parker was able to close that distance and get inside, then he would have had a plan for that. But it didn't have to come to that because Plan A was executed beautifully. Wilder doesn't have plans. He just wind me up, get me in there, and I'll take this guy out. And yeah, it's worked against 39 other kebab shop owners, or Uber drivers, or coffee shop waitresses. Yeah, that works. But you're now at a level now where it's going to take more than that. But I was super impressed with Fury. It's a shame that I'm going to put it down to, you know, the level of corruption there, and agreed to get that fight back on and to do it again, to double up. Yeah, let's do it again. Why not? And that's come into it, and that's a shame. But you know, I don't think there's anything in there for Joshua to be worried about. The LDBC zombies, they're in damage control at the moment. They're very quick to say, "Oh, well, you know, it was a fantastic fight," and no, Fury made that fight. It was all Fury. Fury has he helped sell the fight, he helped build up the fight, and then he executed that fight, and he's the one that made it interesting. Fury, Wilder was just a passenger in the whole build up, and he was a pedestrian in that ring. Absolutely, he offered nothing. I was really, really, really surprised with how poor he was, but he got away with it. Maybe a draw's not such a bad result because I still want Josh to be the one to knock him out, which I think he can do. The only spanner in the woodworks is there's going to obviously be a rematch, and then potentially another rematch, so a trilogy. So that could effectively wipe out the holder next year, which, you know, is a shame. I really kind of secretly wanted Wild to win. Hope there wasn't a rematch clause for Fury, or Fury would have probably said, you know what, I will take you up on that rematch, but I'm not going to force that now. Let me get a couple fights under my belt, and I'll come back at you. That's what I would have hoped Fury would have done had he had lost heavily, which would have then freed up Deontay to have no excuse to fight on April the 13th, and then get knocked out, which is how, you know, that's how I feel that's how it would work. You got these Wildettes now saying, oh, well, we're just going to freeze Joshua Wright. How are you going to freeze out the guy who's got all the other belts, you donut? All roads lead to Joshua. Accept it. Unless someone steps up and beats him, all roads lead to Joshua at this moment in time. You can't freeze him out. That's just stupid. What you're then saying is that we're just going to just keep fighting between ourselves, just us two. Because, let's be honest, if it wasn't for Fury... let's say now Deontay beats Fury the next couple of times. So they have a rematch because of the draw, and then there is a two-way rematch, and then they fight again and he beats him again. Who does he fight next for that level of money? There isn't anybody else. There is nobody else that's going to give that level of income. Whereas Joshua, for the most part, can fight pretty much anyone in the top, 15, and he's going to make decent money, life changing money, 20, 30 mil sort of money. If people are coming to see him, not so much as who's fighting. Obviously, if he fights one of the big guys in Wilder and Fury, then everyone's going to turn up, of course. But he doesn't need that. Wilder needs Joshua more than Joshua needs Wilder, 100%. I hope Joshua sent them a bill, an invoice, for the last couple of weeks, because he has helped them promote this fight nowhere. The amount of time that they use his name, it's like it's some sort of endorsement. He should send them an invoice. I don't know, 500 mil, for my services and my name and whatnot, and send it out to them and get them to pay it. Because even now, they both couldn't beat each other in Fury and Wilder, and they're still talking about Joshua. But it is what it is. I think Fury won. It's sad that he didn't. The Wildettes, where were you? Where are you at now? Where are you? There was comments beforehand. Oh, he's gonna leave this guy in hospital. I can't wait to see Fury laid out, twitching and bleeding from his mouth. Where are you at? I know where you are now. You're really, really considering shit. Is Wilder as good as we think he are? Because you guys have only watched him on YouTube. Everyone looks good on YouTube. Or anyone could look good on YouTube. Now this is the first fight you've actually watched. Yeah, you probably streamed it because you don't support your guy. But you're now coming to the realization that maybe, just maybe, he isn't as special as we think he is.